Hello everyone, my name is Minaya and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to talk about the verbs ser and estar in Spanish because students might be quite confused about these verbs. So I'm going to give you some examples and explain it to you so you can have a better understanding of these verbs and know in which situation is better to use which verb. First I'm going to say some examples and then I'm going to explain how I see these verbs, like how for me as a native speaker these verbs work, so I can convey the general idea about how I understand these verbs. So I'm going to start by saying in which situations we use these verbs, and then I'm going to explain it better and say some examples. So we use the verb ser when we talk about identity, profession, essential characteristics, origin and nationality, material, time and date, personal relationships, events, and passive voice. And we use the verb estar when we talk about location, physical state or condition, emotional state, temporary conditions, result of actions, and actions in progress. So now I'm going to say some examples of each case. For identity, like soy Minaya, ella es mi maestra, eso es verdad. For profession, él es médico, soy abogado, él es electricista. For essential characteristics or features, el cielo es azul, la taza es grande, el oro es caro, él es introvertido. For origin and nationality, soy de México, ella es española, este vino es de Chile. For material, la mesa es de madera, el anillo es de oro. For time and date, hoy es lunes, son las 3 de la tarde. For personal relationships, like meaning if someone is your friend, your father, your brother. Ana es mi hermana, Pedro es amigo mío. For events, so this means like where a certain event is happening. La reunión es mañana, el concierto es en el teatro. And for passive voice, we take the verb ser and we add the participle of a different verb. El Quijote fue escrito por Miguel de Cervantes. Esta casa fue construida en 1900. And now some examples with the verb estar. So for location is where is located someone or something. Estoy en casa. Madrid está en España. El libro está sobre la mesa. For physical or emotional state, estoy cansado. Él está triste. Estamos contentos. For temporary conditions, el café está caliente. La puerta está abierta. El cielo está nublado. For results of actions, la ventana está rota. El trabajo está terminado. And for actions in progress, we take the verb estar and we add to it the gerund of a different verb. Estoy estudiando. Ellos están hablando. Nosotros estamos aprendiendo español. So now I would like to explain better how I understand these verbs as a native speaker, because this can help you to understand better how to recognize in which situation use each verb and not only memorize like in which situation is better which verb. So we use the verb ser when we talk about the inherent characteristics of something, like what defines something as something and not as a different thing. And we use the verb estar when we talk about the state or position of something. So basically it is that ser talks about the essence of things, so it answers the question like what is something, like the essence of something, and estar answers the questions like how is being or existing something. So if I say la mesa es de madera, I use ser because we are talking about an inherent characteristic of the table. So it's not like now it's made from wood and then it's made from metal or something else. So we understand the table made of wood as an intrinsic characteristic of the table, like something that defines that specific table. But if I say la mesa está rota, so I use the verb estar because I am talking about the condition of that table. So the nature of the table is not being broken or being in some specific position or condition. So we understand the table as a whole. So we say la mesa es de madera or la mesa es grande because those characteristics define that table as that specific table. But in the case of la mesa está rota, so I'm talking about the state or the condition. So being broken is not an inherent characteristic of that table. I would like to make a parenthesis here, and we can say la mesa está hecha de madera. So I'm using the verb estar. So, but I'm talking about characteristic that defines the identity of the table. So the table is made of wood, but in this case we use the verb estar because this is a grammatical construction. So it is not that I am using the verb estar because I'm talking a temporary condition or an state of the table. It's because the grammar structure. So I can make different videos about it. It is like saying in English, the table is made of wood. So it's a grammar structure. But for now, I hope this explanation helps you to have a better understanding of these verbs and see how we as native speakers see these verbs. And of course, you might find different situations in which it is confusing, and you might ask, like, why do we use this verb instead of other verb? Like some situations in which you want to use ser, but we use estar, or vice versa. But this happens in any language, like even native speakers might have trouble when explaining how these verbs work. So you don't have to worry about it. So I hope this is a useful guide for you. And if you have any question or suggestion to a video, so I can explain something regarding to Spanish, so you can tell me in the comments. So that's everything for today. Hope you enjoyed this video and see you in a different video. Bye bye.